sewer bond issue. Public questions pertaining to it?
So is this where we ask the questions?
Does it go to sewer?
It does go to the sewer.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, are you going to answer us this time? Because you didn't answer us earlier. You said it was later, so.
This is not later.
This is later.
No, it's not. No, it's not. This is the one I'm telling you about.
All right. Well, here, I know it does speak to sewer, but why are we doing a sewer bond when that's what our water looks like? Nope, you put it right. I'll take it back. Give me my can back. Because I would like for it to be.
Now let's start all over here.
I would like for it to be on display.
We will keep this civil, okay?
Okay.
Or I have to ask you to leave.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. I would like for you to answer my questions as well, though, because you were very rude in the last meeting. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Kelsey Miller. You all probably remember me from council meetings in the past and the water board meeting an hour ago. I want to start out by saying that I love my town. I've grown up here, and I love that I'm raising my kids here. As Mr. Mayor drinks his bottle of water, our tap water's dirty. That's why I'm so passionate about the poor water quality and the financial decisions that our city's leadership have chosen to pursue. That's why I'm speaking in opposition to the proposed sewer bond, and I urge you to vote against it. I'll spare you all of the details about our dirty water, but it's been going on for years and years and years. My water was tested, and it had 7 times the recommended amount of manganese in it.
Again, this is
This speaks to the point, sir, of why are we spending money on a sewer bond when our water is not fixed?
And I would suggest you get to the point. This is for
Oh
sure.
my.
Okay?
Okay. All right, so on top of, I'll skip all the health hazards that there are because of the dirty water that we have and skip to the part about not being just a concerned mom for the health and safety of my children, but to the part that you care about being me being a concerned taxpayer. All right, it was recently brought to my attention that the city's trying to introduce a bond that would increase our sewer bills by around 18%. This is concerning because our rates increased, I want to say it was in 2019 as well. My question is, who of you all up here, I know some of you are new, all right, but who up here decided to pursue a sewer project before addressing the aging infrastructure that causes Milton's residents to have brown water that has potentially negative health effects? Anybody want to own that?
Corey, you want to answer that question?
This sewer project has been in the works for approximately 8 to 10 years.
Okay, well, the water has been dirty for at least 5, but I'm assuming it didn't just wake up one day and decide to be dirty, so I don't know. Of the $7.9 million that are to be raised by imposing this bond, how many of Milton's 2,500 customers are going to benefit from it? He's going to defer them all to you.
That's okay.
Okay.
I would say there's probably in the 90 percentile, 95%
Okay.
of the benefit due to that. Most of that project is for I&I removal to reduce inflow and infiltration
Okay.
into the gravity sewer system
Okay.
and failing lines that have sinkholes on them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're rerouting some flows and building new lift stations, upgrading lift stations.
Okay.
Moving lift stations for the core project they're paying for.
Okay.
Mainly rerouting some flows to get it to Salt Rock to reduce the amount of that they're having to pay
Okay.
to Salt Rock for treatment.
Will it take care of the sewer backup on Abbott Lane?
Have it-
Because that was supposed to be taken care of after the last sewer increase.
We are,
Yeah, my
that's
family has
part-
property down there. which is-
that station will be upgraded
Okay.
with this project.
All right. Of that, let's see, what's in my place here, because somebody answered my question this time. All right, so how much of the $7.9 million is going towards running sewer to the Morris Memorial property?
The current resort is already served in this
Okay.
month through the Hill Station to Salt Rock Sewer.
Okay, so if they were not opening that spot, would we still be doing this, allocating that money in that exact way, in that exact spot?
with the original scope of work, it is all improvements within the existing system,
Mm-hmm.
except for one extension that goes out to the EMS station and the radio station.
Okay.
Out there. So the only addition that we did add to that project was to set a lift station on the bottom of the hill, so that if they ever did
Mhm.
do that front portion, they would be able to have sewer service.
So none of this $7.9 million, $0 are going to a private company.
No. It'll all be owned by the city.
Right, that's not what I'm saying, because I know that like when I buy a house, or when I build a house, I have to pay for my sewer hookup, I have to pay for my water hookup. So they're not reaping the benefits of the sewer increase on the citizens without having any skin in the game.
All the other improvements except for that one final piece of line from top of, right there at the EMS station.
Uh-huh.
The bottom hill is the only thing to be, and that was after they had their development plans.
Okay,
and-
how much does that part cost?
Probably $300,000 to $400,000
Okay,
of the 7.9.
of the 7.9,
Just
Okay.
as and that was since the line was already that close. It was, said had to do it now, or do it in a future project.
Uh-huh.
Because their original build-out schedule was to coincide with the sewer project.
okay, to go inside. All right, so there is a cost though, about 400,000. That's a lot easier to swallow than the 7.9, and that kind of goes to the point of transparency and being able to answer questions and stuff that we've asked that, have been kind of off limits. And so, I can swallow $400,000 a lot more than I can swallow 7.9 million going to that project. Because they already got the property super cheap anyways, it was like $1 an acre. So we've already kind of lost out on some revenue there. But it doesn't alleviate any of my concerns with being able to serve it. Like, do we have a guarantee that they're gonna finish that property anytime soon? Or anytime ever? Is it like in a contract that if they don't?
No.
Okay. So what happens to all that property then? That we sold them for $1?
It's gonna be developed.
Is it?
Yes.
When?
Well, yeah,
I drive by it all the time, man. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I mean,
you're talking another 10 years before they're finished with that out there.
Excuse me, sir, I just had a quick question. Did you say you put that, whatever the piece is that you ran from EMS to them, did you say you put that in case they ever need to use it?
At the time of planning the project, there's been 3 or 4 companies that talk about locating there. Some industrial facilities, some just different industry has spoke about being there. So we want to include the project in this so that if it was there, if anybody does come in, they would have sewer service in that front portion. But the current hotel area and the other side of the property is all service with their current sewer system.
so either way though, we did pay for that, not the company that would be going in there, correct?
It's more of an economic development for the city.
Can somebody make sure my camera's turned on, because I don't remember if I turned it on or not? Alex, you're the resident young person.
You're good.
Nobody got my SNL? Oh, sorry. All right, so, but we did foot the bill for that, and so is this bond going towards paying on that's already been done?
It's not been done.
It hasn't been done
There's
yet.
no construction has started.
Okay,
We're currently in the process of finishing the properties and easements to be able to
Okay.
move to construction.
all right, so, but still, it's built in there for the citizens that have to drink water that looks like this to pay extra, to pay $2 towards a project that is raising our prices when our water still looks like this is unacceptable. This was taken from Woodline,
From my house.
from her house with the reporter, 25 to 30 minutes ago.
And
So-
it is
With the
several shades
With the
lighter than it
HHR.
was.
Yes, so, okay. All right, so, do we have, so, you said something about Salt Rock Sewer, right?
Yeah.
So we will not be getting their revenue, like their money for their sewer?
Currently, the city pumps all of the collection, the sewage that's collected in the system to Salt Rock Sewer for,
Okay.
they have an intergovernment agreement with them to treat the sewage and have a bulk
Okay.
rate for them to do it. So that,
All right.
behind the reduction in INIs to reduce the amount that's being pumped to them.
Okay. All right.
Kelsey, I think we got a couple questions back here. if it's
Yeah,
okay.
man.
So,
Take-
So,
the 400,000 that you're talking about, that's running to the Grand Patrician, right? That's the cost to run it off of 60 to the Grand Patrician, right? $400,000 allocated to the Grand Patrician.
The current
So look that
construction,
up.
the current construction they're doing right now is currently served by the existing system. There's no, this project would not do any improvements to the system that it's being currently served by.
Okay,
But
so
it would if they
what
were
is this
gonna
doing for
build
the
on.
Grand Patrician? Because that's, you know, of what I've skimmed and what I've understood, that part of this was allocated toward that.
This,
And then I guess part two is why are we allocating money toward that when you have no ETA or guarantee of a return on investment for that type of money?
Well, not only-
$400,000 is a lot of money to throw at something to not know if Mr. Hoops is gonna
well, not only that,
eventually finish it. you know?
Governor Justice last year got a grant for $11 million for water, sewage, or, sorry, 13.8 million, but 11 of it was specifically to water infrastructure in the state of West Virginia. Have we as a town reached out to the Water Development Authority or the governor's office or anything to try and get some of that funds for this town? Like, if our town really is that broke, I want to know where's the money that all of these restaurants and Synergy and all these taxpayers' money that is going to this town, where is it being spent? Is it all going to
B&O
that
tax.
facility at Morse Memorial? That whole facility could have been sold for millions of dollars and not only fixed our water infrastructure, but brought in a better return on investment.
And I would
mean,
also
does anyone
like,
disagree?
no,
No.
I would also like an answer to the question about if we have reached out for any portion of that, because I've heard that question asked 3 times in the time that I sat here between that
Susan,
meeting
you
and
wanna
this
answer
one.
that? You wanna answer
Yes,
that?
we've sent multiple letters to delegates, to Carol Miller, to the governor's office, to the Cabell County Commission.
Listen, I did IT for the Water Development Authority. If you guys want, I will drive up there Monday and I will personally walk in and shake someone's hand and say, hey, will you come to the town of Milton to our next town meeting? And we can get this ball on the road. But this whole, we've reached out, that dog doesn't hunt with me. This has been going on for 5+ years.
And
Yeah.
did you
5+
apply for,
years. People can't bathe their kids. We're replacing spigots, we're replacing refrigerators and appliances.
Stained
I
in
mean-
various bathtubs, stained sinks.
We
my-
can't fill
yeah.
swimming pools, you name it. I mean,
Did you apply for grants? I mean, I know you reached out, I've reached out. I think that's how you all
You
reached
got
out
in
to
contact with
Congresswoman
Carol Miller
Miller.
because a citizen reached out and they sent a letter to you and you had to respond to it.
We
So-
actually sent letters to delegates,
Okay,
not all of them, and to Congresswoman before.
okay.
So there was a grant applied
The
for?
response-
We did send a response to that, but we had also reached
Okay.
out to her prior.
And,
Oh, well, they told me that you had not.
yeah.
They
so
told me that you
might
had not,
wanna-
and
Had
so-
not
Terry-
applied for
Terry
the
Booth
grant or
is-
had not reached
and-
out? Because it seems like
Yes.
we're using different phrasing.
Yes, I talked to Ms. Booth, she told me that you had not, at the time that I was here, when she had the mobile unit, I came and spoke to her. I've reached out to every delegate in the 16th district, and at that time, they reported to me that, you all had not reached out to them. Again, the question is, did you apply for a grant, not reach out, but a grant, because the American Rescue Plan offered grant funding for towns, cities, municipalities for infrastructure?
Can I answer that? My name's John Stump, I'm bond counsel for the town, and I think there's some things being mixed, and I don't know anything about your water situation, okay? I know nothing about it, okay? But I can tell you this, the project that's being discussed this evening, the sewer project, is actually partially grant funded. It has $2.1 million in grant funding out of 7.9, okay? So yes, there have been applications made for grant funding. And it is committed to the United States Department of Agriculture to the project. So of 7.9, 2.1 is committed for grant funding. The 7.9 that's in the ordinance, authorized borrowing, is so if the bids come in over, there's sufficient room to borrow the funds, okay? This is fact. I mean, you don't have to believe me, but this is fact. Secondly, with respect to the American Rescue Plan, okay? You're absolutely right.
That's specifically what people are asking about.
Okay, I'm happy to answer that too, ma'am. Those funds have been given to the state, you're absolutely right. The state's in the process of putting together a program to apply for those funds. There is no program to apply for them as of yet.
I know the governor had announced on a press conference, different cities getting the funds or getting funds for infrastructure specific to water.
Well, there are lots of different grant monies that have come
I
in,
understand
but
that.
the American Rescue Plan, okay, and you can go to the state auditor's website and it'll explain all this, okay? You don't have to believe me. But there is not a process in place at the state level yet for those funds.
So
There
what's-
will be in September or October.
What's the rush then? Why push this through and make the?
Well, I thought you wanted ARPA money for a water project.
I think
for-
that-
We do, clean water.
Clean water.
We-
Okay, well, that's different, that has nothing
Okay,
to do with the sewer.
all of that dialed back is, I understand that you are coming in what feels like a very emotionally charged situation. So, we have been dealing with, I moved here 3 years ago. Oh, I'm Jessie Garment, I'm the Woodline HOA president. That's my water on the container from an hour ago. We moved here, loved the town, and our first month in, had to have a boil water issue. And I've been dealing with this with my 3-year-old twins since we moved here. Often with my husband overseas because he's in the military and getting to try to reach out to various people to get transparency. So I understand that maybe you don't feel the impact of the emotional charge of the room, but we're coming at this not feeling like we can keep our kids hydrated or clean during a pandemic. And having somebody come to us and say, well, we actually need to increase your pay by 18%, 19%,
Something like that.
18% after we've experienced this in 2019, right before my water went out and I had to have more boil water orders. Our patience is very thin. And it's not as if we're coming with unpure ulterior motives. My husband and I thought that we had found our forever home here in Milton. We had planned on staying here and sending our kids to high school here, and we've requested a transfer through the Army to leave because of the Milton water, and largely because of lack of transparency. Bringing people again, you don't know or care about the water situation, bringing people to a meeting who don't know or care about the water situation through no fault of their own, he doesn't owe us clean water, is adding to the frustration and lack of transparency. And all I can see right now is a lot of people passing the buck. And maybe it's the military kid and spouse in me, but I was raised to believe that the buck stops at the top. And so people are furious about spending more money and not getting their questions answered transparently, efficiently, and compassionately. And that's where we're at right now. Also, he is a realtor if other people are looking to move away due to the lack of clean water.
Let me paint a picture for you, bud. I was getting off work Thursday, taking a shower, because, did yard work, everything. Water pressure's low, didn't think twice about it, completely soaked up, water shuts off. Had to get out, call my pregnant wife, ask her if she can come home from Charleston, or, she's on her way home from Charleston, if she can stop and get a case of bottled water so I can rinse the soap out of my eyes. We're done. We've had it. I appreciate that you're coming in, you're trying to,
Infuse some transparency
right,
into the
trying to lower the
situation.
tension in the room, or maybe you're not because you're rolling your eyes a lot, so I'm kind of done with you. But everybody else in the room, you understand, I've grown up with a lot of you. Carl used to work at Gino's. Troy used to be a youth pastor at Antioch. Dakota, we went to high school together. I mean, I've known you all my whole life. Tom, you're a stellar guy, man. You've been great for this town over the past 12 years. But ever since you guys got rid of Gerald, man, this has just completely went
Well,
downhill,
we
and
need
there's
to-
no reason.
Joe's retired.
Well, be that as it may, I heard otherwise, but be that as it
Well, then
may.
you are wrong. Go ahead, go ahead.
Difference between
Be
retirement.
that as it is, if that's all you're gonna take away from this, man, we can turn this conversation a whole other direction. But what I'm trying to say is that we wanna give you a fighting chance, and I'm willing to help, and whoever, we'll all come together as a town if you need us to. If it is a hole that there's not enough people, or there's not enough money to fix the water, so be it. But I'm getting mixed signals, and I think we all are getting mixed signals. And sinking all the money into the Grand Patrician does not make sense to any of us. I
And
think that-
requesting a almost 20%
I would
increase for
love-
water.
well,
I
that's
would
not
love to have a
budgeted.
country club here, that'd be
And-
fantastic,
and-
but that's not the immediate desire of the town.
Absolutely.
The bottom
Yes.
line is, we do not need a bond to fix sewer until we fix water.
That's
Yes.
the
That's
absolutely.
the
That is
bottom
the
line,
problem.
that, and, you know,
That's your all's call.
And are you the city's attorney? I'm sorry, I heard you
Yes.
say Mr.
Yes,
South.
I'm with Stephen Johnson, we're bond counsel for the city. Our role is simply to help finance projects. And you're absolutely right about ARPA for water. I mean, you all absolutely should. If that's a project that needs done, that's a great funding source.
And it should be
It's just
done
not, it's just
before
not
this.
available yet.
Okay.
The
But
other,
it
the
should be
other
done
thing,
before this, and
the other thing is we have no choice at this point to take the word of the people, of the gentleman and the gentleman up here. Obviously he had an hour or so to go back there and you all put your heads together to come up with answers to questions that you couldn't answer. So we have no choice but to believe what he's saying, and you are gonna vote on this tonight, without giving people a chance to look further into if what he said is true.
and really, no matter what we say, you've already made your minds up about what you're gonna vote.
This is also, let me also say, this is also the third of 4 actions that's required by the city in order to issue the bond, okay? This is simply a public hearing, there will be a supplemental resolution that will be considered once bids are received and a closing date is established. Bids haven't been put out yet. So there will be another action by city council before there is any financing that's closed for the sewer project.
I wanna say, this wasn't even in my notes, but I wanna say as I was reading through that bond, there was a section in there that said that if basically you start building it and you run out of money, you can raise the price again. Too.
Yes.
That was in my highlighted version that I don't have up here with me, but can somebody speak to that?
All rate increases would have to go through city council and be subject
Well,
to
we don't have a whole lot of faith in
subject
that,
to a
so-
public hearing, would be subject to a public hearing. That's what's required by state law, and it is regulated by the Public Service Commission of West Virginia.
So our mayor would ask his minions to vote yes if he needed more money, and a lot of them would without questioning anything. Because you're expected to be a yes man here. So this is kind of water and sewer together here. I don't feel that we have the ability to service a 100-room hotel with water, so if we can't get them water, sewer's not gonna matter. Like, you can't flush your poop if there's no water there. So, our current water system can't ensure clean water with decent pressure to its current 2,500 customers. And the water pressure is especially bad over on East Mud River, which is near the Grand Patrician and where that new sewer line is going in. So can you guarantee, whether it's sewer or water, that you're gonna be able to maintain service of both of those to your current customers that are already on the struggle bus to get those services now without adding that extra load to it?
Yes,
You can guarantee, so then, if you can guarantee that they're gonna be able to get water pressure over there, why can't we get water pressure now to our houses? Especially over in that area. Yeah, Ally, that's where you guys live, right? And that's where it's notoriously low over there. So, I mean, is there a plan in place to make that water pressure higher so that it can just push right on down the pike?
Well, there was a hospital there serving that location for 30
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
So
but
the water service.
within the last.
But within the last 15 to 20 years,
you've
the
got
population here has
Populations and
grown.
housing developments have really increased.
And
it's
that's-
really cutting into it.
Yeah, it's cutting into the pressure pressure, so just because it was able to be serviced 20 years ago doesn't mean that it's able to be serviced now, because the residents in that area continually experience low water pressure. Tell me I'm wrong.
What about the revenue for the water and the sewer?
Yeah, so, we asked this a little bit earlier, how much money does our town bring in by having the water and the sewer municipalities as our, like, run by our town? What's the dollar amount that we're in, are we in the green, are we in the red?
How much
Like,
revenue are you getting
How much
from the
revenue,
water
how much
and the
money are
sewer?
you getting from us having,
From our water and
from our water and sewer?
They,
After,
they go over that at each, they go over that at each, water board or utility board
I
meeting.
couldn't hear 'em.
And it's posted out front. I don't know.
I tried to ask in the water board meeting, and our, Mr. Mayor refused to answer me.
Well,
So-
I'm sure he did not want to give misinformation, and I'm sure he did not have that information
Well,
directly
he had
in
an
front of him.
hour in between meetings to go get it.
It's out there in the lobby now.
Okay, somebody go out in the lobby and get it.
It's in the, thing. You'll have to take a
Say
picture.
the rates are run all through public service.
It's in that
Commission.
bulletin,
Right.
thing, the one on
Public
this
Service
side.
Commission is not allowed to be a profitable company.
Okay.
Since they're not a private entity, they're a city entity, they
So
regulate
if
their
you're-
rates to create.
So if you're not allowed to make money by owning the water and the sewer system, how do you pay for upgrades to our lines that just have Band-Aids on them?
You raise rates.
You raise rates, okay?
So you-
Well, you're trying to raise our sewer rates to go to a sewer project, when really, if we're looking at any rate increase, it needs to be on the water, not the sewer, because we need our water lines fixed before our sewer lines are fixed. I wanna say somewhere it said, in the bond ordinance that this was for the health, the safety, and the something or other convenience of the citizens of Milton. But if you really cared about the health and safety, you'd fix the water before you got in on this tangent with sewer.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I don't understand who thought it was a great idea for our sewer to be taken care of before our water. Like, that's a basic need. We're in America, it's 2021, this is not a third world country. It is not unreasonable for people to want water that doesn't look like this. I
On a
mean,
good day.
On a good day, yeah. Like, lots of times it looks way worse than that.
Advisory was lifted yesterday.
Yeah, the advisory, the boil water advisory was lifted yesterday. Does that look like something that is healthy and safe to drink?
And those are-
Anybody?
Those are new homes, so it's not.
And they're
bad
new
lines.
houses, they're not old lines. If a boil water advisory was lifted yesterday and it already looks like this, then I don't have any faith in whatever you do to decide if we have a boil water advisory or not. Like, that's not okay to drink that. I don't know. So, let's see.
I think we're also one of the only zip codes between Huntington and Charleston that's not on American water. I might be mistaken about that.
Yeah.
That's secondhand info.
Yeah, so, and we're not making any money on this, like, so why can't we discuss a possible buyout? Like, every time that's been mentioned, it's like, whoa, no, we're not gonna do that. You know, people lose jobs, whatever. They'll find jobs for our water workers, they'll need water workers. All right, but they have the resources that we don't have, because we're not allowed to make money on our water, right?
That's the public service commission for that.
Okay, so if we're not allowed to make money, then, you know, that therein lies some of the problem. We can't fix these problems that that are whoever's fault it falls on. I mean, we can't fix them without money. So, one thing that I'd asked, is,
I can't find it.
huh?
I couldn't find it.
Oh, you couldn't find it?
No,
Okay.
I've got the checking accounts, it shows that. Yeah, it says vendor checks, I have profit and loss, it has the cemetery,
Yeah, I did see some.
coastal, some coal severance fund, something.
Well, we've
separate.
already established that we can't make money, so it is of
Yeah.
no benefit, and.
It's no benefit for us.
In no business model that I know of would an antiquated system be held on so tightly to.
Yeah,
It just seems suspect that if we're not making money off of it, we're gonna hold on to this so tight when there's another company willing to purchase something to,
And has the ability to fix.
and has the resources to help us out, just seems rather suspect. No business would do that. No business would keep such a system. It's not good business sense.
right, and for anybody who doesn't know, during a July meeting, a representative from West Virginia American Water approached, I'm assuming, I don't know if it's council, the mayor, approached somebody in this meeting and wanted to make an offer to buy Milton Water. And he was told that they didn't want to hear his offer, and they weren't interested. And that was without even knowing if he was gonna offer them 5 cents or $500 million. All right? So would you like to answer now why you wouldn't hear this man out?
Nobody has made an offer.
You wouldn't let him, he tried.
Nobody has made an offer.
Okay,
They will be making an offer, yes, they will be.
okay. So 2 years ago,
So you're wanting us to sell out to West Virginia American Water?
Maybe.
That's what
maybe,
it
I mean,
takes.
We can get help.
if we can get help,
We're willing to see out any attempt, right? Because all that we've seen progress in this town is the attempt to benefit the Grand Patrician. I don't, if anybody else in the room disagrees, feel free to chime in, but at this point, I don't think anybody's disagreeing that could be a benefit for this town. But like we established in the beginning of the meeting, there's no planned return on investment, there's no planned ETA, there's no clause to say, well, if we pass a point of no return or we start to go negative in the money, that we're gonna sell it. I mean, there's not been any of those talks. It's just been a never-ending construction project. So, at this point, the town has been vocal. We all have told you exactly where we want time and focus to be. That's the biggest issue. You know, I have a baby due in January, and I don't know if I can wash my kid. I mean, hear me out, guys. I don't know if I can wash my son. I don't know if I'm gonna have to get bottled water to give my son baths. Okay? Just please work with us.
so, and if we're not making money, which we've established that we're not, my question would be, why wouldn't we consider it? And I know you're gonna say that because they'll charge us a ton more, it's not good for the town, but you guys are gonna have to charge us a ton more too to fix it, because the money's not there. And you can't fix it if there's no money. So what's the difference then between us paying you all more or paying them more? I would rather pay more to a company that knows what it's doing than continue to pay any money to a company that's overwhelmed by the task and isn't making enough money to fix our lines anyways.
A couple years ago, Synergy had to come in and they had the equipment to help the town
Yeah.
fix a leak.